As ready as I'll ever be. Okay, we got anything to add to the agenda?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I have one.
Yeah, go ahead, Joe.
Under infrastructure, stormwater improvements, engineering for the Alberta Beach Golf Course and area drainage. And it will be handed out, Mr. Chair. I think Cindy's got it there for you.
Okay, B1.
Okay.
Steve?
Can you hear me? Just to add a lot line of that.
We're like,
Northeast 33.
okay, so just a minute. Let's put that under
Infrastructure.
planning and planning commission. Municipal planning 7-1.
What was it, Joe? We can't hear Steve.
Oh yeah, they can't. You're not on.
Am I on now?
No.
Can you hear me now?
Barely.
Yeah. Barely. Can you copy? Can you hear?
This way.
Hello? Yep. Hello?
Maybe.
Can you hear?
Try that.
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, it's,
All right, we're good to go.
I'll say it's a lot line adjustment on Northeast 33, 55, 6, west of 5. An update on that. Is that what it was?
Yes, it was.
Okay. Anything else?
33, 55. Sorry, what was the last?
6.
6.
Okay.
I've got one. 3, 9C3 or 9C4. Just a letter we want to send to the town of Onaway to get permission, and we'll have some discussion on it too. But for a landman to look after that quarter section that the Germans have that we need to get some road right away on and an access road and see what's going on there. Somebody to talk to them. Is that all that we talked there? Yeah, Trista.
Under 8A1, the beaver bounty.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah. That's smart of me, eh? Let's put it on the agenda and then forget. He was here this morning. Anything else? Did you want that letter on here, Ross? The letter from that you sent us yesterday? She might like it if it was in the minutes. Yeah. Well, it's just, what's her name again? Okay, so under infrastructure plan or public works, A1, letter from Diane Zimmer. Do we, I think that should be it. Okay. Can I get a motion to accept the agenda as amended, please? Ross? Got no minutes. No delegations. Infrastructure and planning. Straight into these. Who's looking after this?
Yeah, I'll speak to this, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
This is the wastewater disposal rate increase. We talked about, we deferred it till July 1st. At the two commission meetings, they have approved to proceed at the $45 effective July 1st from the $26.50. So I just need a ratification from the county to do that at all our lagoons.
Okay, Lauren, against? Okay, carried.
Okay, the wastewater haulers agreement, there was some changes on this. So this here is supplied to all the waste haulers that haul waste into our lagoons, our wastewater, sorry. And so it's here for to approve the agreement with the following amendments. One was the legal loads. We stipulated that in there so that way we don't have guys maybe going in with overweight loads more than the 3,000 gallons or more than we want legal weight loads for our roads. So it's just here for approval, Mr. Chair. The commissions have also approved these.
Yeah, okay. George? Okay, all against? Well,
The legal load deal, you can tell that by the number of gallons they dump, or we can weighing them, or what's the deal? That's the trouble that we're faced with without the SRS units, where we actually meter the cubic meters that are coming in. It's hard to tell, so we've kind of trying to get them to follow the legal load limits for their truck, because every truck's different. Yeah, I understand that. It's challenging right now, but that's why we are pushing to try and get all these SRS units at all our sites for this simple reason. At least then what we'll do is the agreements will change once we have an SRS unit in the sites that they pay per gallon then, or per cube.
Steve?
Yes, Joe, in regards to legal loads, and some of the summer villages in our subdivisions have 75%. How do we enforce that?
Well, they're exempt. It's up to the summer villages. If they only want 75%, they can do that. That is up to them. But our loads they're exempt. It's just like water haulers. They're exempt also. It's just more cost back to our resident. So.
Lauren?
They're exempt for now, but under circumstances, let's say spring breakup or adverse weather conditions with lots of rain, we have the ability to put a permit process and call for banning us to a certain level, and
that's right.
Which we might have to. That's not to say, but that's going to be at the call of our infrastructure manager.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I am sure that we're going to see this back within the next year again. If not sooner. So anyway, I got a motion on the floor. George, against? Okay, carried. Okay. The did everybody get a chance to read the letter that Mrs. Zimmer sent to Ross? And Ross sent it to all of us about I think it's the Stump Road and then 590. Is that the two?
It's not
Sorry,
the
not the
Stump Road.
Stump Road. 4 to 8 Mile.
Yeah, she called it 22, but it's Range Road 84 north of 18 and Range Road 83. I would assume she's referring to on the gravel by driving around it. And then also 84 north, but Greg and I have looked at 84 north of the 8 Mile, and I believe he has a plan for that already anyway, so it's just they want it now. But there is holes in that new pavement that were fixed that didn't last very long. I understand where she came from on that one, on that 1 mile that was like hard surface, hot mixed a couple years ago. It goes into quite detail. I'm not going to read the whole letter.
No, but I think she wanted you to bring it to council, so we have a note of it. So you and Greg have been working on it, and you're going to send her an answer. You don't have to give her exact times, but that we do have a plan and send something back to her. That would probably be the best.
Okay, Greg.
And then can we just get a motion to accept this for information? Steve, all in favor? Or against, I should say. Yeah, carried. Okay, Joe.
I can present this, Joe, if you want.
Oh,
Yeah,
sure.
Go ahead, Brian.
So before you, we have, thank you, Mr. Chair, Alberta Beach Golf and Country Club improvements. We met with them in the winter. They had issues in the spring in terms of drainage. We've resolved the wild water line, and that construction has been done. So that's one of the problems. This is the second problem in terms of the culvert that goes under the CN bridge. And it's basically overland flow that they can commit to on site as well. But we also have downstream affected areas, and we've hired Polachuk, or we're here for approval to hire Polachuk to do detailed surveying and fix this problem once and for all. It should be around $7,500 for their work, and we're estimating the culvert replacement and readjustment in terms of the inverts, so it'll actually drain properly, about $7,500 as well. So we need about $15,000 to complete all the work here at Alberta Beach.
Is this just the golf course, or is these, Greg, are these the same guys that did some work around the Echo Marine there and stuff?
Yes.
Yes, this is the same consultant that's done the work there for the other summer village and the joint work we did with Alberta Beach as well. Same consultant, so they're very familiar with the area.
Okay. So at the end of the day, when we get this, and this is mostly because of the railroad grade, is it not?
Yes.
And so there's going to be a little bit of a battle when we go in there and tell Val Clinton that Sunset Point, that they've got culverts in upside down, because from what I understand, they're trying to run some water uphill off the golf course there.
No, the goal is to actually meet with them as well too and make sure they understand. And Paula Chuck is committed to working with them as well too. He's also working with their side of it and doing a survey for them too.
Okay.
So hopefully he'll be the liaison that makes this all finished product and working properly. That's the goal.
That's a hell of a goal.
Yeah, these issues, I believe, were brought about from the study they did with the summer village, and is now a continuation on our parts.
Yeah. Mike, and then Lauren, and then Mike.
So to finance this, is this coming out of development department, or where would this be coming from? I mean, the development department has money for this, do they not?
They do set aside some for engineering. We also have some other engineering money under Greg, I believe, that we could fit it under. correct, Greg? I think we put some in the budget for you.
Sorry, yes, Mike, we did have some budget for miscellaneous drainage issues. I would have to check to see what that value is.
Yeah.
For you, does Wild, I know Wild was somewhat involved with this. Is anything to do with Wild, or is Wild?
No, this
nothing
is,
to do with that?
the wild problem has been resolved. The drainage
Okay.
that they caused has all been fixed. This is now separate. It's the CN crossing and the other downstream impacts.
Okay.
What's that? Well, it needs to be done, but there's no doubt.
It's been an ongoing issue for years there. That culvert was put in by the Summer Village way back, but it really, last year, it really affected the golf course. I mean, half their greens and their fairways were underwater half the summer.
And guess who? Our favorite person from Alberta Environment was out there and did make another decision.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just wondering if the Summer Villages are going to be a partner in this, or are they just letting you do the work and pay for it?
No, they're paying a portion as well, is what Polachuk is telling me as well. So it's kind of a partnership. The 7,500 is our portion.
Well, I think it's probably a good thing to have, because it'll be good information for later, because we have the Aren't boys own the quarter behind that, and if they decide Barry and or his brother, if the Castle Island developments, if they ever decide to do anything. Plus, we got Woodlands on the other side, or not Lakeview on the other side. So, and where's the right of way for that? What's the plan? I guess we don't really have the plan for the end of where that sewer line's going to go away.
Yeah, I got a draft agreement that's going to go to the Summer Village to run it up as far as Lakeview.
That's the one. That's the one coming from North 43.
Correct.
Okay, but what about the one that's coming from Darwell to get to their lagoon?
That, I believe, will probably end up coming down. We're not sure on the routing yet for sure, but we want to make sure the routing, we get as many of our subdivisions as we can along the way. But it probably is going to go up the Museum Road, I believe, is probably the direction we'll probably go with it.
Okay. All right. Well, we got to make a decision one way or the other here, you guys. Mike.
So I just confirmed that the Summer Village is actually putting in about 145,000 to solving that whole rail grade issue there. So we'll do our study and do what we can, but the Summer Village is doing some as well.
They're doing the whole Summer Village, I think, Lauren.
Yeah. And they're just asking us to pay the $7,500 for engineering for Polachuk on the Alberta Beach Golf Course side. They just don't feel comfortable funding that, but they're putting in $145,000 to solve all the downstream effects on their entire hamlet.
They're not a hamlet yet.
Oh,
yeah.
What are they? Sunset Point. I'll call them Sunset Point.
Hey, Steve.
I'd like to make a motion that we pay $7,500 portion.
Steve, you're very hard to hear. Very hard to hear.
No. Yep.
You want 7,500 for the engineering plus another 7,500 for culvert work, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, thank you. Steve, don't make the motion, I will.
Okay, well, we're yeah, George, go ahead while Steve's having fun with his antenna here. Okay.
I'll
George.
make the motion to accept the recommendation for the 7,500 for consulting plus the other 7,500 for culvert work.
Okay. All right, there's a motion on the floor. Against? Okay, carried. Already. Okay. MP Municipal Planning Commission, but I don't think we have to go into MPC. It's just a discussion. So lot line adjustment, you're just checking. You want to know where it's sitting?
That's correct.
So,
So
do you
right
know
now,
okay.
yeah,
Thanks.
right now it's at referral stage. I've spoken to this guy or the applicant multiple times every week, and I've missed just as many calls as I've talked to him on. All they're doing is rotating the property pins around on the quarter. We received his application March 4th. We have 60 days to make a decision. We're at about the 30-day mark. Right now we're waiting on inspection results from Public Works was the last thing that I had. Once we get those comments, it'll be ready for approval. He's in a rush to get it done, and rightfully so, but we're well within our timelines. We're at the 50-way mark. I think part of the problem is when I said we could get it going and started, when he happened to call, I think he thinks it was just a rubber stamp and that we didn't have to get the referrals from agencies, simply because the parcel size are all staying identical. It's just there are two 40s on the north part of the quarter, and he wants them on the east side. So once we get the comments regarding the approaches, we can rush it a little bit faster and get it out for a decision because we have all the other agency comments.
Okay. Is that oh yeah. Ross?
So when he made the application, he was told that it would be 60 days after it was started, or 60 days from the day he made the application.
He was told that he had 60 days once the application was deemed complete. To most people, they think that's once it's submitted.
Oh yeah.
But his application was basically complete there. It stayed in our inbox for a day or so just because our permit numbers picked up. But we're within our timelines, and we can probably have this resolved no later than next week, if not sooner.
Okay. I think it's to do with the mortgage, I believe, from what I understand, right?
Yeah, he's trying to get mortgage approval, but he can't put it on the title because the title doesn't exist. The one issue that he's going to run into, and I've told them this, is even once he has our approval, he still needs to get it surveyed, and it still needs to be registered at land titles, which can take up to 2 to 4 weeks, depending on how busy they are. So it's going to be a ways for him either way. But we're trying to get it out as fast as possible.
Thanks.
Okay, so, well, we'll accept that for information. Nick, okay, against. Okay, we're gonna take a couple of minutes here and try and get everybody online because we got some technical difficulties.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah.
Everybody should have said no, and he'd have been talking away.
Shocking my well.
Okay. Where are we at? 8A1, the beaver bounty. So, I guess where are we sitting cash-wise with that, Trista? Or
I believe-
Aaron? Aaron's not here.
I think he's on. Aaron, are you on?
Yeah, I'm on. We received another 70 tails for the bounty this morning at the collection. So we're sitting at roughly $700 left. So we've exhausted almost the entire budget thus far. We have collected more tails than ever in the history of this program, and I'm not sure why that is. Maybe people have some idle time, or I'm certain it's not that there's more beavers. It just seems there's more emphasis placed on the collection. But regardless, we've almost exhausted the bounty. So if council wishes, we should probably add some money to that line just so that we're covered for further collection.
And that's the 10,000 you're talking about, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, because I know there was some confusion on that amount earlier. So I think we should probably, could we just get a motion to approve another 10 out of reserves for now, and then if you get close, come back and talk to us again.
Okay, that works for me if someone is willing to make that motion.
Steve?
Can you hear me? Yes, I'd like to make a motion that we increase it to 20,000, or increase it by 10,000. Increase the budget by 10,000 for the beaver bounty tails.
With the money coming out of reserves.
With the money coming out of reserves. We got her straight? I just confirmed it.
Okay, opposed? Okay, Aaron, there you go.
Thanks, Joe. Thanks, everybody.
All right. Is there anything else you got to tell us? Well, because you're finally in at it here.
Not right now. No. No, that's good for that side of things. I'll send you an update in regards to the beaver mitigation program, but that's all prepared so that you guys have a heads up. But I think we'll formally present it in the next council meeting. But I will send you an interim report here today. So
on which is on the beavers.
Yeah, just where we're at numbers wise, and as far as responding to calls and dams and all that sort of thing. So just so if you do get an inquiry from someone, that you have the same information we do.
Okay. Just George has a question, and then I got one too. Go ahead, George.
Aaron, last year they were knocking them beaver dams out along the highway by Yellowstone and about Highway 33. And I don't think the county was notified, and there was some flooding issues going on. It's going through Corsair Cove. Are they going to let us notify this year, or are they just going to go ahead and do it, and we got to take our chances again?
I guess that still lies with the provincial contractor. I can attempt to reach out, George, and make contact, just ask for some heads up and some lead time there. I'll CC you on that email. I'll just send an email to the contractor requesting they do give us some heads up, so we can, well, at least we can accommodate best we can.
Yeah, through Corsair Cove was the worst. There's quite a bit come running down there that they all of a sudden they seem to think it was blocked off or something, but it did across the highway and all the way down into the lake. Thanks, I appreciate it.
So where are we, just curious on how we're sitting with crops planted and not planted, and how, like, percentages, and how's everybody making out there, kind of thing?
The east side of the county is in excess of 90% complete, I would say. They look to be in good shape. A lot of the crop looks really good. and there's on their first round of spraying for a lot of it already. West side, probably. Like I talked to Councillor Gablehouse and Councillor Bonnet this morning as well in regards to numbers, and we all kind of figure right around that 70% complete. The stuff that's left to go is primarily feed, so it can be seeded a little bit later. Obviously, it's very wet still, but I think people are in decent shape for the most part. There's obviously some pockets where they've seen more rain and what have you, but overall, like county-wide, we're not in a bad position right now.
So where are we at compared to last year at this time?
We are ahead of last year. Last year there were still people trying to combine. We're not in bad shape. We didn't have nearly the salvage crop left over. I mean, there was some, but not nearly like we saw last season.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. Have you guys put anything like that up on our website? Just an up-to-date thing?
Not formal numbers, because we don't have formalized numbers, but I can post. We do get the crop report from the Alberta government, and I can post a link to that on the website. That would I do send it out to our ASB, but that would I guess that would give everyone access to the numbers if they wanted to have a look.
Well, it's not great news, but it's good news, and I think any good news story we can put out there right now is beneficial. So. Yeah,
and I agree, Joe, and I think guys are struggling to get some spraying done right now, but a lot of it is in the ground. So from what I understand, the colony, Mr. Hoyt has shared that the colony finished seeding yesterday. So a lot of the big guys are getting things rolled up. So.
Oh, that's good. All right. Yeah, I think maybe if you could put something out there, it'd be great. Thanks, Aaron.
Okay, no problem. Thanks, guys.
Okay. Play school fees.
Okay, Hi, I'm here.
Where?
I'm hiding now. So further to the discussions last week, just following up, due to the uncertainty around COVID and all of that, the conversation was regarding reducing enrollment fees for play school students for the 2021 school year, assuming full enrollment, so September to the middle of June, and dropping the fees to $165 for 1 day a week and $330 for 2 days a week. And we have started enrollment, so the response from parents is cautious for the next school year, but parents are still interested in enrolling. So just looking for approval.
Well, it sounds like they're going to go, everybody's going back to school.
I hope
September. So. That's what it sounded like this morning on the news anyway. So, okay. Nick is making a motion on the recommendation. All against? Okay. There you go. Next.
Okay. So the second item I have is the 2020 Fcss external grant allocations. So this is based based on last year's allocations. I have noted within the item several of the community events that have been canceled due to COVID-19, and there are a few that there uncertainty around whether they will happen or not this summer. So I've based the allocations on that information. There is a small pool of funds available based on this proposal of $10,000 should some of the ones that we anticipate canceling actually run and still be able to provide that funding.
Okay.
The Meals on Wheels allocation, or sorry, food bank allocation does include the $3,000 allocation versus the $1,000 from last year that was approved by council previously.
Have you heard, do you know if anybody's having it now that they've opened up round 2 and it sounds like round 3 is going to be right behind it? Have you heard from any of the ag societies or anything? Are they still talking about having any events?
I haven't specifically talked to any of them, no.
But
I do assume that, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, so I guess what my question being is, if we approve these, there's still going to be some money kicking around if somebody does have something like later in the fall or something. Right?
Right. So, for example, Rich Valley Ag Society, we've set aside $3,500 for them. If they don't do any events, that funding will be available to reallocate elsewhere.
Okay.
The community events are, those dollars are distributed on receipt. They're not forwarded those dollars in advance unless they need them to proceed.
Okay. Okay. Any questions? And I get a motion one way or the other. Lloyd?
I move to approve.
Okay. Against? Okay. There you go.
Thank you. I'll proceed with that.
How are the campgrounds, Donna? Busy?
We had a really good response to reservations opening up. We have bookings throughout the summer, at Paddle especially, the phase 1, 2. But we do have the phase 3 opening up in the front half for this weekend. So tomorrow, and I think we had, last I asked, 8 bookings into there. So I think there's about 15 sites in that front section. So having 8 patrons in for the weekend is fabulous. From what I hear from Joe, I haven't been out to the site myself, but the new caretakers are doing a fabulous job of getting everything ship shape up there for us. So very excited to see what's happening.
Okay. Right on. Good. Thank you. Okay. Just
So the strategic plan for 2020 to 2023 requires a department review for enforcement services to be completed by the end of Q4. And so we basically want to start the discussion on how that's going to roll out. Council obviously sets the level of service and confirms the core activities for enforcement. The other aspects of the review will include looking at the legislative pieces, so the bylaws, the policies, adopting the standard operating procedures, and reviewing the agreements that are existing. So the idea today is just to have a little bit of a discussion, make sure that the department is in line with council as far as key strategies, setting those priorities. So Dallas can speak a little bit more to the department side of where they see enforcement going, and then the idea is that council can say yay or nay as to whether or not that's council's vision.
Mr. Chair, as enforcement services, we feel that our core activities and level of service is as follows. One is complaints. We focus on our complaints that come in daily. Number 2 would be unsightly and nuisance properties. Focusing on those throughout the county. 3 would be our contracted services to Woodlands County, Barhead County, and the town of Onaway, and the 2 summer villages. 4 would be the community patrol side. 5 would be the traffic. And then 6 would be community involvement. This is how we kind of organize our time throughout the county and what is priority. And that is our priority list. As of June 1st, 2020, Enforcement Services has a total of 248 case files, which include 100 citations. The remainder of the files are general complaints, which are dog complaints, misuse of municipal land, off-highway vehicles, livestock complaints, abandoned vehicles, and so forth. 5 of those 148 are RCMP assist files where the RCMP requested our assistance. That is our priorities set out in our core activities. I guess this is opened up for discussions to see if those are aligned with what council wants to see out of our department.
Yep.
Thanks, Officer Troma. Just what are those priorities again? Just quickly, just go over those. I think there was 5 or 6 you said.
There is 6, and where they're listed 1 to 6 is the priority level. So 1 is what is the main concerns within Lac-Saint-Anne County is our complaints and our ratepayers. 2 would be the unsightly properties to take care of them. So what we would do is on a normal day, if a complaint come in, we would deal with the complaint first. And if we need to move on to our unsightly nuisance properties to whether it's putting out enforcement orders or to do a follow-up, we would do that second on the priority list. 3rd would be making sure we fulfill our contracts with our neighboring municipalities. 4 would be community patrol to make our community safe and to show our presence out in the areas. 5 would be traffic, make sure our highways are safe as well and focus on our problem areas where we do have consistent speeders or frequent accidents. So the way this is set out is that our focus mainly would be complaints throughout the day. If we have time, we would go to level 5 of that, which would be traffic throughout the day. So these are just priorities and how we schedule our day and what we focus on throughout the day or throughout the weeks, throughout the department, through all officers. Does that make it a bit clearer for you?
Yeah, thank you. I just kind of wanted to know that with the questions that we have with rural crime and everything else is the presence in and around the area and stuff like that. And I suppose by driving around to a lot of these other complaints, you are actually putting out that presence on some of these, rural roads, so to speak. So that's where I was kind of questioning is that for me, that might be how can I say, a priority that might have been wanting to be moved up a bit. But anyway, thank you. Thank you, Officer Troma.
I'll just give a little bit more insight on that. A lot of these priorities, we are traveling throughout the municipalities and our presence is known. Due to manpower and how far stretched we are, we normally would do community patrols quite often through the subdivisions, which would just drive through, make a presence, talk to anybody that's walking down the road, ask them how they're doing. That has been very limited at this point in a sense because we're so stretched out. But you're right, we do get out there and people do see us go into these complaints. And when we do drive past the subdivision, we'll try to poke in there to make a patrol through it. So it kind of fluctuates throughout. But if we wanted to focus on priorities for the county, set out that I think or our department thinks is what council wants is 1, to focus on complaints that do come throughout the county from the ratepayers and get them dealt with first before we move on to the next steps of priorities.
Lauren.
Dallas, thanks. Dallas, the mutual aid with the RCMP and the assistance, have you seen an increase? The time allocation and our resources that we're able to muster, what percentage of our resources are we allocating to the use to the RCMP for mutual aid?
At this point, the RCMP have been pawning off a lot of things on us in the sense of abandoned or animals, cattle on the Highway 43, which really we don't have jurisdiction on to assist the problems. We had one the other day, to be honest with you, that came through late in the evening from Parkland 911 through the intercom system, and we did not reply to it because everyone was off duty. The files that we assisted on are blocking roads for them. We had an incident up in Paddle River here just recently that we had a request to, block off a road and watch for a subject leaving the property. Those are the kind of assist files we do with the RCMP. The amount that we assist the RCMP is very little at this point due to the fact that we are short manpower at this time as well and are so far stretched. Does that answer your question, Lauren?
Yes, I'm just concerned that in the future, the demands on our CPOs, but yet we're contributing significantly for funding for new officers, but hopefully we'll see some RCMP officers out to help assist with our priorities.
Just to give you some insight, not only the RCMP from Mayerthorpe, but ourselves as peace officers have been running into major issues having any kind of RCMP presence from Parkland County Detachment. We have a MOU with Mayerthorpe, which has gone extremely well with the officers there. They're willing to even come into Parkland's district to give us a hand if Parkland RCMP will not attend. So which is quite nice. The I guess partnership that we have with Parkland is a good partnership, but whether they're overwhelmed with calls or whatsoever, they just seem not to come out. And I mean, a prime example is the other day on Sunday, Officer Shapansky had pulled over a vehicle on 765, if I'm not mistaken, on the way home. Was parked on the edge of a field. She stopped to see if they were all right. It was known that she could see the door handle on the car was punched. When looking in the vehicle, she could see the steering column punched. There was 2 occupants in it. She then got all their documentation and made them sit there and asked for request or assistance from Parkland RCMP. The 2 subjects that were in the car, we had an incident about 3 weeks ago at Emery Park, and they were arrested, taken away on warrants. So Officer Shapansky wasn't aware of that at that time, but as soon as she mentioned the name to the RCMP in Parkland County, it took them 40 minutes to respond to her, but with 6 cop cars. I mean, sometimes they come, but it does take 40 minutes. These guys are known felons. They were arrested on site. They tried to flee from Officer Shapansky. It's a good thing we had 2 officers on, so Craig assisted her as well, which is another one of our officers. They tried to flee in another vehicle, so they were charged with that as well. But that just puts in perspective how fast something could go south out there without having the assistance of the RCMP close by. Officer Shapansky did reach out to Mayerthorpe and was directed by Mayerthorpe if Stony Plain wasn't going to attend, they would attend to take care of the situation. The subjects that were arrested were released the next day onto a promise to appear a bond of $500. The reason why the RCMP didn't do it on scene and took them into the detachment was they would then be left roadside, and the RCMP thought they would actually go out and steal another vehicle from our county. So they took them in and did what they need to do and kept them till first thing in the morning. So the assistance from the RCMP is lacking for sure. Now, just to give you a little bit of updates, since January 1st till June, our officers have pulled roughly 12 abandoned vehicles off our roads, which I would say 50% of them were stolen. So when we do call to get assistance with those abandoned vehicles, they just request us to tow them to Jacks and stick them in secure storage until further notice. So previously, before this frontline policing model came out, they did attend and did come out. Since this has all come out, it's slowed their service to us for sure on that end. So our officers are doing what they can, whether it's regards of towing a vehicle for abandonment or even a call for a drunk driver. We have certain authorities under us that we could do a 24-hour suspension, and I count that lucky for people that are impaired. We do seize the vehicle at that time, but it's not a criminal offense like the RCMP could lay against the driver. Any questions on that, Lauren? Any more? Did I elaborate enough for you?
Yes, probably a lot more than I wanted to hear, but I'm sure that the disappointment in, we've invested close to $1 million in our forces in policing in the county, and having the provincial government asking us for another $1 million in the future really concerns me, because when we're sharing the load, that was the whole idea, is we would invest in our resources to offload some work from the RCMP, and now we're getting a double whammy. I don't like it, and I think it's really an injustice to our rural areas.
I just wanted to bring council's attention to, I threw up on the screen the authorities that our CPOs actually have as far as provincial legislation. So they're listed there, and there's sections of some of those that we are able to enforce and sections that we aren't, but it's just up there for your information. So this would be the peace officer side of things, and then obviously there's the county's bylaw side of things where they can enforce any county bylaw.
Just to chime in there, Trista, Mr. Chair, we've also been granted authority with the training of emergency vehicle operations to do traffic on 2-digit highways or single-digit highways now. None of our officers have been trained in emergency vehicle operations through the Alberta Solicitor General. But that just is what I'm trying to show there, is that more and more authorities are coming to the peace officer way, taking the load off the RCMP. So back to Lauren's comment, where we are funding frontline policing, a lot of their authorities in the sense of 2-digit highways and single-digit highways are being granted to peace officers in municipalities with emergency vehicle operations under their appointment.
So I guess that's good information. We knew that was going to happen, so it's not a shock, unfortunately. But I guess go back to the 6 things that Dallas brought up at the beginning of the conversation. Is that where you guys feel that our priorities should lay, or the order they should be in?
Just one item for thought, I guess, and look to the sewer commissions, and it's the weights. So you guys just approved the new agreement, and we've talked to Dallas previously. Do you want them to do a good focus on these trucks and the weights according to their allowed? And if so, we just need, Dallas just needs that kind of direction. We can get them out there, getting some weights at least.
Oh. Like myself, I wouldn't mind them going and maybe spending a day or 2 days over the summer and just do a couple of blitzes on them. But to do it continuous when we don't seem to have our road bands in shape with our partners and different things like that, and the ability to know what they're hauling, I don't know. I think we need them to understand that we don't appreciate them hauling some of the big heavy loads they are, but at the same time, I don't think we want to spend a ton of time on it until we get some more of our infrastructure in order. And at the same point in time, we're hauling gravel down some roads right now with our own trucks that are loaded right to the nuts, doing just as much damage as any sewer truck is doing. So I went for a little drive yesterday. Dallas?
Mr. Chair, I do agree with that. My department is willing to spend some time and weigh some trucks, which is sewage and water hauling. But our concern as a department is just as you said, we have stopped some contractors that work for the county that are hauling gravel. And I'll just use this as an example. We resurfaced 544, and we had major complaints of large truck traffic on 544. Upon an officer, which was myself, stopping a vehicle on there, which was a large truck, the contractor stated to me that he was hauling gravel to do our gravel program, and his weight was to full capacity. And this was directed by the gravel program. So what I'm saying is if you do want us to enforce the rules on our roads and protect infrastructure, I think we need to make it clear to all of our contractors as well as our own staff that are hauling heavy loads on our roads to abide by our rules of the roll bans are 75%. The other thing I would like to see is Public Works actually put some kind of mapping system in place where the contractors must follow the mapping and not drive on our asphalt surfaces throughout the county if they can avoid it at all costs. So we have no problem doing it, but I think that we need to have that discussion with our contractors as well as our own haulers itself.
Yep. And I guess that's something that should be, no, but then when we're having these discussions around our asset management and roads and all the rest of it, that's probably should be part of the, right? Or is going to be part of it, I'm hoping. That we're going to have some kind of a haul road system set up to try and build a few roads to the capacity they need to be for the heavy loads, and then use them as to funnel most of the traffic. Would that not be the plan? I think.
Yeah, I would concur.
So.
I would concur, Mr. Reeve. As Officer Dallas here has mentioned, I think it's if we're looking towards the road ban system and trying to control damage to our infrastructure, we obviously have to adhere to those rules ourselves within. Otherwise, how do we govern others? So I do agree with the blanket approach. If we're in it for the right reasons to protect our infrastructure, we got to act within those lines as well.
Okay. Well, we got Dallas in here. Is there anything else you guys want to chat about? Now's the time. Steve?
Yes, Officer Dallas. In regards to our other officers.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Officer Choma, in regards to the other 2 or 3 officers that are we sharing or partners with other municipalities, what's the time frame? Do we have time with, say, Barhead or Woodlands and I think the Summer Villages? How's that time's broken down?
Well, the way our department has broken it down, I mean, when we originally got into contract with Barhead, we were to provide a body to Barhead for 80 hours a month. So what has happened is basically when I do have 2 officers on a shift, which is all we have for rotation here in Lac St. Anne County, one officer would go for part of their shift up to Barhead for 5 hours and then come back to the county for 5 hours, where we have one officer stay in the county and make the presence and do what we need to do in county by handling all the calls. The same goes for Woodlands County. We do have the same, I guess, way of doing things where on a certain day we have 2 people on, we will send a person out there for 5 hours and come back to the county for 5 hours of their shift. When I do attend council or go and deal with problems in Barhead regarding complaints that other officers haven't had, or to go to meetings, that is taken off their time for our services provided to them. If it comes to court time, of course, we can't miss court. We will attend court and document the time that we attended court and take that away from their allotted hours as well. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
We got an ad out, or are we putting an ad out for another right away?
The ad is placed as we speak today, okay. So it is out. I will touch base if you want. I know Sangudo is an issue for unsightlies. If you want me to touch base on what's taking place there, I can. Or if you have any further questions on any other properties that you have concerns about, I could give you some insight on those as well if you want today.
As long as we're getting rid of some of them. Slowly but surely.
Just to make you aware, and I'll bring it to your attention again, some of these items do take a long time. Again, maybe clear direction from council in the sense of working with the ratepayer. A lot of the unsightlies we do carry are taken care of. For instance, we do have two that sticks out to my mind. One is in Hillview Estates, is an elderly gentleman that has some health issues. He has been served an order and is complying with what we want done, but we've extended and extended and extended. Due to his health condition, we've tried to work with them. I guess what I'm asking from council is how far or how much time do you want us to work with these people before taking action on behalf of the county? Do we continue to work with the ratepayer until we get compliance, or do we give them do you guys want to set a set amount of time, 2-3 months, and if nothing is cleaned up by that time, do we want to move in and go strong-handed, I guess?
Well, unfortunately, I would think that each one is a little bit different, but I guess it depends on how willing they're working. They want to work back. You can actually see them trying and doing, trying to fix their yard up or clean it up, and every day you go by, there's a difference, or every week you go by, there's a difference. That's good. But when they're not doing anything, I think you just hammer them. If they don't do it in the first couple of weeks, they're not going to do it in the next month or the next. That's my own thoughts, but.
Mr. Chair, again, with a lot of these properties, I mean, this accumulation of goods or vehicles or whatever it is has been happening for the last 10, 12, 13 years. So some of these properties, the accumulation is so overwhelming for the person itself. Moving 2 cars a month, which we have worked with people on that end and cleaning up a bit at a time. But it seems like these complaints keep coming forth from the same ratepayers or other ratepayers about the same property, because it is taking so much time. I mean, 30 days is what we usually give to an order, with extension if we keep in contact or they do some progress or make some progress on their properties. And sometimes it extends to 6 months. We do continually drive by and update and talk to the property owners, but when is too much is what I'm asking. This could take years of an officer following up and following up. It is tying an officer's resources up. If that's what you guys would like to see, then we'll definitely do it that way.
But see, that's the problem, though. You ask us, but we're not there, because if the guy's got 20 cars in his yard that he needs to get rid of, or 10, that shouldn't be 2 every couple of 3 weeks. That's just one RNS towing, and they're gone in a couple of 3 days.
I agree with you there, but a lot of these properties, like I said, these cars are put in trees that are overgrown or in low areas. Of course, weather has been an issue this year, but I guess we just keep moving the way we are, is what you're telling me, or what I'm taking from it, and it'll be on a property basis. And we'll try to do our best by working with our ratepayers on that end.
Yeah, sorry, Lloyd.
Well, with respect to your question, I agree with Joe that everyone is a unique situation, but I'll harp on the one in San Gudo and your actions that you're taking now. You've given a deadline to the individual. My opinion, in that specific one, when the deadline's over, he's over.
If you're reflecting to the San Gudo hardware store,
yes.
Is that the one you're talking about?
Yes.
Just to fill you in what has taken place with that, I have been in touch with the gentleman over the phone. He lives in Fort McMurray. He has till August 15th to fix up the frontage of it and tear down the back of the deck that's in the back to clean up the property. In order for me to get an agreement and acknowledgement from him signed off on, the policy states that we had to serve him with an order, which we did. So I served him with an order and served him with the acknowledgement and agreement with the county. And I did talk to him yesterday, and he is going to sign off on the acknowledgement. That means, in that sense, come August 15th, if it is not taken care of the way we think it should be taken care of, we will be moving in to remove that structure.
Okay. Anything else?
In agreement with the one in Hillview Estates, that's been, for lack of a better term, that's been a problem for quite a few years. And the refusal to relocate some of that equipment, and it's I think we're with that one, Dallas, I think it's kind of at the end of the rope also. I understand the individual may have struggles with it, but at some point in time, maybe that's his way of asking for help too. But
okay, I will make note of that, and the investigating officer will move forward with another order and a deadline, and hopefully we could resolve this issue by July 11th in that area for you. Any other questions in regards to unsightly properties? Just to give you an update, one in Lakeview Place, lot 106. We did go out and get a surveyor to stake our property. I don't know if you're aware, we did send out a letter to all ratepayers that they had to move all their items off municipal reserve land. And that was one way we could get onto his property and get it surveyed. So the property has been surveyed. The property has been moved from our municipal reserve and put back on his property, and a lot of it has gone to the wayside or thrown out. So we've made great progress with Mr. Kapelka on lot 106 with his property. I just wanted to give you that update because that seems to come up quite a bit. The other one I want to update you on is 56310 Range Road 31 Dan case versus Mr. Vanderlight. Ongoing issue. We haven't heard by Mr. Vanderlight for some time, but what we have made note of is the RV that was presently on his property has been moved. That was by putting a bit of pressure from our department on him more, as well as Mr. Vanderlight with his court order. So that one is sort of quieted down and it has taken care of at this point. Courser Cove, I don't have an update on the progress of the approach inspection. Greg might be able to chime in on that and see if someone has done that inspection on the illegal approach. If inspection is done and they find that it was illegally put in there, we would move forward by removing that approach and dealing with the over limit of cars. The other one I want to touch base on to bring it to your attention as well as lot 159 Hoffman Beach. House is abandoned at this time. Just to give you an update, an enforcement order has been sent in the mail. I do not recall the date that they have. I think it's 30 days from yesterday to have the property cleaned up and the house removed. If not, we will be moving forward and removing that structure and cleaning up that yard as well. The work, okay, I do have it here. The work must be done on the enforcement order by July 30th, 2020. So at that point, we will be moving forward to remove that structure as well.
Officer Dallas?
Yes,
in
sir.
regards, is that Hoffman at 159? Is that the lot?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And it's being dealt with.
Yes, sir. Any other questions? I don't remember if I've given you the revenue for our tickets, but we're sitting at 19,629 for our ticket revenue from January 1st to June. Again, fine revenue does take time to come into the county, but again, we slowed down our ticket process on our highways and so forth due to COVID as well. So just to give you an update on that as well.
Summer's coming, they'll all be back out there driving like jackasses.
But just to give you an update, speeds have picked up dramatically, and traffic has picked up dramatically. 757 yesterday, I was heading out to do an investigation, and 5 minutes apart, I had two people. Well, they were doing about 139, and I locked in on them at 131. One person had an open beverage with them and tried to toss it out the window as I turned around, which was all caught on camera. But both of them were issued citations. So, I mean, again, speeds are going to pick up on the major fairways for sure.
Yeah.
Yes, just a question in regards to patrolling single and double digit highways. Are you doing speed checks on them too, and enforcement as far as, is apparently in the past you weren't allowed to issue speeding tickets on 1 and 2 digit highways?
To give some insight on that, you're 100% correct. At this point, none of our officers have emergency vehicle operations course underneath their belt. So no, they cannot enforce on 2 digit highways or single digit highways. However, if the offense happens on one of our rural roads or range roads or on a secondary highway, and they enter onto a single digit or double digit highway, the offense happened on the 3 digit highway or our range road. So we do have the ability to pull the person over on Highway 43 at that point. But the offense, and I'll make it clear, the offense has to occur on our roads or within our authorities of what we can do.
Okay. Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Can I get a motion to accept Dallas's report for information? Ross, all in favor? I mean, opposed? Okay. Just,
I believe Chief Brandy Schroeder is online to present the quarterly report.
Good morning.
Morning.
Everybody can hear?
Yeah.
You guys are coming in just a bit broken up, but if my audio fails, just let me know. Good morning, Council. Before you this morning is the report on our first quarter response statistics from January 1st to March 31st. Two areas that I'd like to highlight for you specifically are a much lower call volume this quarter experienced than from previous quarters. I provide with this report a summary and then a 4-quarter summary sheet that's a Excel sheet to basically reference against the other quarters, the 3 previous ones. In this particular quarter, we're down 20, more than 20 calls. All call types across our spectrum, our service level spectrum are down substantially. We only had one station that actually did more calls than in the previous quarters. It's a lot slower out there all the way along. The other stat of interest is, and I believe it's primarily due to the pandemic situation with a lot more people at home, is that we have a substantial increase in volunteer availability and volunteers per station per call out this quarter than we've experienced in the past. Substantial in some cases, we're up more than 3 volunteers per call per station across the average. So in some ways, COVID is certainly benefiting fire service availability and response, because we're primarily, as you well know, volunteer based. So having those volunteers available is great. What this quarter won't show yet is the response stats specifically for medical co-response. Because we didn't make that adjustment until mid-March. We didn't see a substantial drop in our medical co-response, but in the second quarter stats, that we've only did one medical co-response in the entire month of May thus far within the whole quarter. So on our average of doing anywhere between this last one, I believe, was 18 call outs, to go from 18 to 1, that'll be a substantial decrease. And AHS is primarily obviously picking all of those calls up, still responding. But the calls for assistance have dropped off noticeably. That being said, most recently with the relaunch through the Medical First Response program that we're involved with, they still have not made any adjustments to that. So for the foreseeable future, I don't anticipate any immediate resumption at the dispatch level to seeing some of those calls, aside from our motor vehicle incidents and rescue situations. There are certain call types within the spectrum of medical co-response that have an automated fire response. And we've insisted, that we're certainly ready and willing to provide assistance for immediately life-threatening situations for what we call Delta and Echo calls. But we haven't seen that transition over in the form of dispatches yet. Aside from that, it's been fairly business as usual. We had this quarter doesn't reflect our wildland season yet, but I can tell you that just simply because of the favorable weather in terms of fires, our wildland season is was certainly short. It wasn't very severe this year, and the essentially early. I guess we had more of an early spring, I would say. So we didn't see a lot of the March snow, so our MVCs have also dropped off substantially. With a quieter population, people at home and less traveling, we haven't seen a lot of that as well. So no major spikes, no outside, I guess, nothing alarming at this time in terms of response. And if you have any other questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them.
Yeah, Randy, I noticed in all your reports, there's never any, there's never any revenue shown or any cost to the county on none of your reports. How come we can't get them? Will it help us? We know how you're staying in budget. It must cost, you must have a calculation for taking out fire trucks and personnel. And if there's bills sent out, there's got to be some kind of revenue generated to see if we're making anything back or if we're leaving anything on the table.
Councillor Vaughn, I have not been, that has not been a normal ask for these quarterly reports. This is just a response statistic report. We certainly can look at that. I believe that administration has looked at doing quarterly budget reports, and so that type of information would be normally produced in that format, but not within this particular report, unless that's the desire of council.
Well, I'd like to see one at least for the 6 months, anyhow, after the 6-month period, just to see how we're staying, and then the budget and everything else that we approve for you. That's all. Thank you.
Yeah. Sure, no problem. And I believe that finance did provide, provide the specific with respect to the overall department cost just recently as part of the finance package. And we can certainly look at ways to refine in terms of the actual running costs or fire services invoicing, that kind of thing. We can certainly look at different ways of doing things in the future, so that it gives you a broader picture.
Thanks, much appreciated.
No problem.
Just for clarification, are you looking for response costs or entire budget picture?
Well, basically, there's got to be a cost when you send out your truck has got to cost so much, no matter whether you collect the money back. There's got to be an expense there with your personnel. And if you do any billing, that should be revenue coming back in.
Oh, okay. So you're looking specific to response.
Yes, basically, yeah. So guy got some idea what it's costing us for, say, per station to go out, and the overall cost, are we staying within our budget?
Absolutely.
It's similar to that. Thank you.
We can work on that.
Okay. Anything else? Any other questions for Randy? Okay. Can I get somebody to make a motion to accept Randy's report? George? Against? Okay. Thanks, Randy.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Relaunch.
Good morning, Council. It's Carol. I'm back in my office. That's why you're not seeing me. This is just as a request from County Council at the June 3rd meeting to come back in front of you from the emergency management and relaunch perspective as to where the county sits with resumption of programs, including customer service, meaning opening our doors to the public again. As you probably are all quite aware, the province announced on Tuesday rather, that we would be moving far quicker to phase 2, and that will actually come into play tomorrow, June the 12th. The county is still working towards the goal of June 22nd to open the office. And we actually will be having a meeting this afternoon with the majority of managers who are available to attend and the senior leadership team to further delve into our finalized processes, procedures, directives, questionnaires for our folks coming back into the office, attending the office, to ensure that everybody is feeling well enough to be at work. We have at this point a directive waiting to be signed off after we review it this afternoon, a procedure waiting to be signed off after review, a questionnaire, at which time we'll also talk about what else we need in the office the minute we open the door to the public. So we do have a lot of things on order. Of course, there is a high demand for the stickers on the floor to say, please stand here for your physical distancing and things like that. Some of that stuff is still on back order, but we have a backup plan with red tape on the floor that we can delineate. This is where you come in, this is where you exit. Please follow the arrows, please stand here. The sneeze guards are now completely in place to protect our front end staff that will be dealing with our members of the public coming in. And we have just a few more things that we're waiting for to ensure that we can actually have people further in the office if we have more meetings that require an actual office space or a meeting space, and how we manage that to maintain physical distancing. Probably the most important factor that we all need to be reminded of is that COVID-19 does still exist. It is not going away anytime soon. And so one of the other pieces that we have developed and will be putting forward to everybody coming back into the office is a guideline for living with COVID-19 in Lac-Saint-Anne County Administrative Building, talking about general things, talking about our office spaces, talking about the lunchroom, talking about meeting rooms, the front reception area, and our mental wellness as we come back into the building, understanding how people are going to feel coming back in, how the members of the public are going to feel, dealing with barricades where there weren't before, and things like that. So the status is, at this point in time, we are closer to our launch
start of June 22nd. We're fine-tuning each and every piece at this point in time. Signage will be developed and up in place next week, and we're going to trial things to make sure it actually makes sense before we open the door, trying to prevent confusion for our ratepayers and for our staff members, trying to figure out how to meet with them, accommodate the asks, and things like that while maintaining all the restrictions and requirements under the public health orders. Any questions?
I think you should go to payroll, get a picture of everybody's paycheck with their name on the front of it and where it says county election and on the top, and show them all that, and maybe that'll help regenerate some wanting to work.
We'd probably have to FOIP a few things on there, but we could probably do that.
That's all right. States, are you still there? You can figure that out, eh? Just motivation. I'm a motivational kind of guy.
Are there any questions that council has concerning COVID-19 and what it means for the office and our ratepayers? Not sure if I can answer them, but I can certainly try.
Well, I haven't been out and about much, but I ended up in town yesterday and I ended up having to go to a couple of stores. And it seems like most people are being fairly respectful and they stand back at the tills and they're not crowding and they're not. So if they're doing that at box stores, I can't see there being an overwhelming need or want to rush the counter or break the doors down here at any given time. So I honestly don't think it'll be that bad if, well, maybe as traumatic as it might be if we had thousands of customers coming through the door.
And you do speak the truth in that regard. Our average number of ratepayers or members of the public that come into the building previous to COVID-19 weren't huge numbers, except, of course, when there were major meetings and things like that. So accommodating those who will want to attend the office, we've determined that 2 groups of 2, so to a maximum of 4, can be in the foyer to allow for physical distancing all the way across. We can allow for 1 to 2 people, again, a maximum group of 2, in the actual vestibule if the weather happens to be terrible outside. And then, much like you would see at the box stores, lines on the sidewalk that will allow for people to understand that physical distancing piece. So I think you're right. They're already used to it out there in the grocery stores, in the box stores. So coming into Lac-Saint-Anne County's administrative office will feel like the new normal that they've already been attending to out there.
Yeah.
Okay. Carol, I have one question in regards to the public format with regards to our council meetings. I'm a little curious in regards to how we're going to be able to manage the public content in our council meetings. So are we going to be putting constraints with the totals and the amounts? Has there been discussion around that?
At this point in time, the Chief Medical Officer of Health has still made the recommendation that municipalities maintain that virtual meeting. Part of that will be the size of the room and maintaining the physical distance requirements. When the time comes, it would require us moving chairs, removing chairs, setting up only a certain amount, calculating our maximum total that we can have up to, of course, that maximum that's in the public health orders as of Tuesday, which is 50 indoors. That's 50, moving quite a ways up from the 15 previous. So once we get a recommendation from the Chief Medical Officer of Health to go back to the actual live meetings with members of the public inside the building, the recommendation is to hold off, but we can certainly prepare and do some measurements in the council chambers to see how well we can manage that physical distancing to see what our maximum numbers are.
Okay, thank you. It gives me Well, thanks for the response. It gives an answer basically to the short term. So thank you.
Certainly. You're welcome.
Any other questions? Okay. Yeah, George makes a motion to accept that for information. Thanks, Carol.
Thank you very much.
Opposed? Okay. Alrighty. Contract extension requests. Are you talking to this?
You want me to? Okay. As part of our partnership with the town of Onaway in regards to economic development and partners in progress, we have an opportunity where we could go ahead and extend the contract with Keystone Strategy. That's Larry and Richard Horncastle, and they've been consultants with regards to helping us through the process of building the partnership. And what we'd like to do is we've always kind of been shorthanded in regards to who is going to be the center of focus when we do get calls around economic development. And what we'd like to do is extend the contract to Keystone Strategies and keep them as part of the Partners in Progress initiative that we have going with the town of Onaway right now. So anyway, if you have any questions, I'd be happy to respond. Russ?
Are they also involved in this Shop to County deal that's going on now, or this has nothing to do with that?
Right now what's happening is that Shop to County is part of the Partners in Progress initiative with regards to having information out there for giving our local businesses an opportunity to advertise for the reopening after COVID, so to speak, or during COVID. And it's part and parcel, but the two are separate. The only thing is that the partnership and with Keystone's involvement, we would be working with Tangent Civic to make sure that we're in a position of making sure that the communications are always going out with Shop to County. It's part of it.
But not part of what you're asking today.
No, not
okay,
part of it.
Thanks.
Just basically just making sure that we have the central point of contact with regards to economic development initiatives within the county.
All right, thank you.
Their funding right now is coming from the
grant,
the ACP grant that we have with the town of Onaway.
Okay. So if there's no questions, I'd like to approve a motion to extend the contract to Keystone Strategies as part of the Partners in Progress initiative. No more?
So you need a motion.
Okay, I'll make that motion, Joe.
Okay. Against? Okay, carry.
Okay, you want me to go to number 2 on the item? Okay. We have gone through the first portion of the ACP grant with the town of Onaway in regards to the Partners in Progress and the partnership, the Lac-Saint-Anne partnership. So what's happened is that we still have funding available on the existing grant. We have an extension to, I think it is August of 2021, that we can use the existing money to spend for initiatives. But it is we're in a position right now to apply for another ACP grant from the provincial government. And what I would like to do is ask for a
I think we're all gone, no? Well, yeah, he's in charge of batteries. Yeah, but we can't hear you. You can do whatever color you want.
You're dead to me, Nick.
Anyway, I'll keep talking to this. So the main thing, all we're looking is a letter of support for Onaway to go ahead and try and get some more money for this ACP grant to carry on. There is no money available right now. I think I saw an email come back from their office saying that, but if we have this in place, as soon as the grants open up again, we'll be able to apply because it'll all be done. So I see a motion for the letter. George?
I'll make a motion to send a letter of support for the town of Onaway for the ACP grant.
Okay, perfect. Against? Okay.
I get some off.
Okay, now this all the letter for the land. So there's a quarter across the road from Timbermart, and we've been working with transportation. And I don't know, echo in here about now. Echo.
So somebody's doing it.
Ever since you. No, I shut mine off. My Bluetooth's off. Anyway, so we need to. There's a couple of things. We're dealing with the wild water on the one side of the road, and Larry Morrell, and on the other side of the road, we need to deal with transportation to get that Range Road 21 straightened out. Is it 21? Yeah. 22. Sorry. But there's that land's for sale. Nobody knows who owns it. For sure, we can't seem to reach out to him. So what I'm looking for is just permission from the town of Onaway for the county to be able to hire a land manager to track all this down and set up some common sense with them for the road right-of-ways and everything that we need to be done. But since it's in the town of Onaway, we need permission from them, but they won't have the money to do it, so we'll have to do it. Mike?
To further this, I have a meeting tomorrow at 2, something like that, with Mr. Morrell for the north side discussion, the property in the north. I've also spoke to landman that Wild uses. Had a good chat with him yesterday about the south side. He's going to send me a package of what he expects it would cost to have him involved, and then we'll go from there. But we'll see where Mr. Morrell sits tomorrow for the north part of that.
So this is just to send a letter to Onaway getting permission to play with the quarter of land that they have there. So, and if it comes back too high, we might not do it, but at least we'll have the permission hopefully in place if it comes back to where we can, it makes sense. What's that? You making a motion? Okay. Ross, all against? Okay, carried. Grad. Okay, so we've got a couple of different letters from, we got one from Marathorpe and one from Onaway. They're having virtual grads, basically, or drive-by shootings, whatever you want to call them. Tootings, guys, drive-by tootings, sorry. And so they want to know, I guess there was two requests. One, if we wanted to put something in as a gift to them in a gift basket, and if any of the counselors want to send a virtual greeting to them. So I don't know about the gift thing because I don't know if we have time to do anything like that because when's the grad? The 26th or somewhere around there, I believe. Yeah, so that doesn't give us much time to get anything because I thought maybe some nice pen and pencil sets or something like that would be good because they'll never use them because they don't write because they're on their computers all the time. So it lasts them for a lifetime. And the other thought I had is maybe if we're going to have our meeting next Thursday, our regular meeting back here on Thursday, our planning meeting, is if everybody come prepared with a little something, maybe we could just do a virtual from all of us, each one individually, put a little package together and give it to both the schools. Just a good luck. Wish you the best and whatever. However, we, everybody say a few words and put it all in a little video and send it to them. I think that'd be cool. That's just my thoughts. No, can't ignore it.
Okay, this is Steve. Can you hear me?
So anyway, I don't know what you guys want to do, but we should figure something out. Lloyd?
You finally had a good idea. I agree with you. I think that would be pretty unique. That's the wrong word to use, but it would be, given the conditions that these kids are graduating in, I think it would be something that they'd appreciate.
Yeah, I agree with it. I liked it.
Dallas?
Mr. Chair, just to give you an update too, the CAO of Onaway asked for 2 of our officers to, I guess, accompany the parade they're putting on as well. I just want to make you guys aware. Of course, it will come out of their allotted time, but 2 of our members will be attending that parade.
Tell her no. Tell her we're sending them. I don't want them to have any credit.
Where's the after grad party?
I'm sure we'll find that out.
You're too old to go to that, you creeper. Jesus. Yeah, where is it? And I guess Mike or somebody, can we look into seeing if we could find, if we, like, I think it'd be neat if they each got a pen and pencil. So something, find something, see if there's something. But I know we don't have much time. Probably need about 100, probably somewhere around 100. 90 some on the way and probably 25 in Marathon, 30. Huh? I doubt if there's very many more than that. What do you think, there's 100 in Marathon too?
No, it's not 100.
I'm not sure we'll have anything that amount. We'll check, but if we get
we might be able to get something done though too, because I don't imagine the guys building promotional material right now are very busy.
I was wondering where that come from, but that was the Marathon or the Onaway letter, because I had got a letter from Marathon a week ago, and I didn't see any gift ask in there. But I see now it's in the Onaway one, right?
Well, that's why most of us read our full agendas before we come here.
I love the virtual.
Yeah, number 1. That's hard to believe. Okay. So let's everybody come prepared next Thursday, sorry, and we'll have somebody in here with some kind of a camera and we'll figure something, we'll put something together for the video. And you guys see, please, if you can find something it's not, doesn't look like they got it at the teddy bear stand at Pilgrimage. I know.
No, if we do the video, we can go ahead and have it to them, and they can actually play it at the ceremonies if they had to. So I think it'd be great.
Gift. That is a gift right there.
Yeah.
It's a gift of knowledge. In some cases.
Don't play on a busy street, eh?
Okay. Do you want that for information? Cindy?
Yes, I'll make that
Nick?
motion.
Okay, against? Okay, carried. And Ross made the motion on the letter. Okay, Sang sent in, wants to know if, since they're not having the golf tournament this year, it looks like if we would donate just instead of to the golf tournament like we have been in the past, just make a donation to the kids in cancer directly, I believe. Is that the... See here? Yeah, because we're not. Yeah, because we're not. There's no entry fees or anything this year, so $1,000. It was $550 last year but that was there was entry fees into the golf and different things that were on top of that, I believe. Yeah, 1,400. Steve?
I'd like to make a motion that we donate $1,000 to kids in cancer.
Well, George is saying why not $1 a kilometer? 1,400.
I'll amend it to $1,400 a dollar kilometer.
Alrighty. I think that's a good idea. Okay. Opposed? Carried. Okay, bylaws.
I have $2. I have $2.
Bylaws and policies.
Hi, Mr. Reeve, members of council. Mike Morton speaking. This is just for the signing authorization. So the organization structure has the 4 GM positions and all should have the same authority. So we're just recommending that the position of general manager of utilities and special projects be added to the policy. But since Joe has taken that position and he's already a signing officer at the bank, then we'll just add Greg at the bank for the purposes of signing, and then everything will be lined up and the recommended action.
Sounds good to me. You want a motion for the recommendation? Lloyd? Okay. Carried. Oh, sorry, against. Okay, carried. There you go. All done, Mike.
Thanks, council.
That was you're pretty noisy today there, Mr. Morton.
Yeah, we had an easy shift today. It was all the operations departments today.
Next time, mute your computer though, because I can hear you putting ice in your glass.
Okay, I'll keep that in mind.
All right. Okay. Do we have anything in camera?
I've got those numbers for.
Mr. Chair, I think item 9C3 we skipped.
Oh, the terms of reference. Oh, sorry.
I have it down as approved, so if you just want to proceed, that's fine.
Yeah, so we got a big packet of the terms of reference to that committee because there was some confusion. So it's all just straightened out now. So we just need a motion to accept the terms of reference for our committee members, probably more than anything.
Yes.
So Nick.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay. Against? Okay, carried. All right. I will have a motion to go in camera. Lloyd. Okay. Oh. Carried.